Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Aven Barbosa. Did I get the last name right? We practiced the first name, but not the last name.
You did. You got it right. Good job.
Okay. All right. So Aven emphasizes on self-awareness in relationship, advising individuals to assess if their behavior changes, such as isolating from friends. She suggests checking in on loved ones and maintaining boundaries. Aven warns, sometimes in relationship, we really do begin to neglect our own needs, which can lead to losing one's identity and future resentment. Aven, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really thrilled to be here. Talking about relationships and love and finding yourself is one of my favorite things to talk about.
Yeah, and today's topic is a good one, right? Are women in their 30s and 40s falling behind? So that's a good topic to touch on. But even before we go, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was that journey like for you to become a therapist? What was that aha moment that you felt that you saw something in the marketplace?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my aha moment to become a therapist actually happened about 15 years ago. And so I
Mhm.
have the topic today is really meaningful to me because my journey to get here, it took me to get through my 30s. And now I'm in my early 40s to actually get
Mhm.
to this point in my life of actually doing my dream job. So it was, a long time coming and opportunity finally I guess arose for me to go back to school and complete my master's degree. I just finished at the University of Kentucky. Um, and
Congrats.
yes, thank you so much. You can see the
Yes,
a
yes,
little bit
yes.
back there. Gotta show it off, right? No, but it's just a dream come true to finally be here I think it's a privilege to sit with people in their most vulnerable moments, and then, help guide them through whatever it is they're going through and finding the answers that they need and just seeing those light bulb moments with my clients are just incredible. So it's a dream come true. It was a long time coming, and here we are.
Yeah, you listen, you got to put the work in, which you did. So, and today's topic again, it's about women in their 30s and 40s. When I was younger, women and guys, they got married probably by the time they were 25. You already, or maybe if you were a little slower, maybe in your late 20s. Now women are pursuing their career, they're pursuing, financial independence from men in certain aspects. And so the topics that you see online, especially I do, when women hit the wall at 30 or at 40, now they got to settle. Um, what's your take on that? Especially now that we see that women are going to college, they're furthering their education. And like I said before, want to get they don't want to rely on a man for financial gain or help. They want to do it on themselves. Do so. I know that's a lot to take, but let's go with that first, and then we'll we'll carry on
Yeah.
about the women in the 30s and 40s supposedly hitting the wall.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think my first comment on that just really simply is, it's important to ask ourselves, like, where did we get that definition or, timeline for, women are supposed to be married at a certain age and have kids. Like, where did that come from? And, I think we could admit that today it is outdated and women are actually now writing their own timeline. So I think, it's important to just think about from, a timeline perspective, where did this, so-called timeline come from, right? Where women are supposed to be married at a certain age and have children at a certain age and that sort of thing. But it's really cool to see that today women are, writing their own timelines, and I think
Mhm.
they're focusing a little bit more on their own mental health, their autonomy, and their own personal meaning. And the economy has changed, the world has changed, and it gives us that opportunity to be able to do that.
I like that. I like the fact that, women are more, and for me, it doesn't bother me that, a woman wants to go to college, wants to further her education, like I said before. Um, are we seeing that maybe some guys are feeling that they're falling behind in terms of a woman's education, of a woman's financial independence? I'm seeing also online too, even that if a woman is making a certain amount of money, then the guy has to, either meet that or pass that. Are women closing or losing out on a few different men because now their dating pool has become smaller? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I think that you could say that. I mean, we could all speculate on, okay, well, what are the men really feeling or thinking whenever they're coming across women who have focused on their career and, become very well established and independent and can take care of themselves? Does that, cause pause for men? Some, yeah, probably. And to your point, yeah, it probably, shrinks the pool for women in some regard. But I think that, the biggest thing is the emotional development part, right?
Mhm.
And, women and men do develop a little bit differently. They're on different timelines. But whenever we think about, when we're in our early 20s, we have not reached our emotional development peak, right? And
Mhm.
so do we really know what we want? Do we know who we are? And I think that that goes along for men and women. And so, decision making and, your impulse control and all of that stuff, it really doesn't completely mature until we're in our mid 20s. And so
Mm.
once we get to that point, it's like, I think a lot of women, because they aren't getting married or doing things like that in their early 20s, they're getting to a point in their mid to late 20s where they're thinking, wait a minute, like I actually have more to do. I can become more established, more independent, and then find a partner that is, more aligned with who we are, and that actually in turn creates, more successful relationships in the long run.
Yeah, I definitely agree there because I think in my generation and my parents' generation, people got married at 21, 22, and like
Mhm.
you said, you're still growing, you're still trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
Um, are some women using the finding yourself a little bit more as a way not to get into the dating field, if that makes sense? I see your mind ticking a little bit, but yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we could be, and I
I
said,
hate to say excuse, but I'm just saying, or I don't want to use the word excuse or cop out, but is it more of that's what they're looking for, to establish themselves, like you said before, getting to know who they are and what they like about themselves?
yeah. Well, I think sometimes it's just happenstance too, right? Like,
Okay.
I mean, I think I want to speak from personal experience on this
Okay.
here, okay? So I didn't meet my husband until I was 30. We got married, I was about 33, and I will say, I did have an extremely fun 20s.
Mhm.
And I did develop a lot and I learned a lot about myself. And I'm telling you, when 30 hit, it was just like, that aha moment of, wait a minute, like this is about me. Like, why am I out here trying to, please everybody else or follow these like strict timelines that have been put forth in front of me? And so did I use that as an excuse? No, I think it just happened. I
Right.
honestly, I think it just happened and it felt good. And so I continued to just follow what felt good for me.
Right. I don't think a lot of women do that because they get pressure from society or somebody in their family saying, "Hey, I got married at 21 and you're now 25, 26. What are you waiting for?" Are you seeing that too in your practice? Either they're putting pressure on themselves to get married or someone from their family or society putting pressure on women to get married at an earlier
Yeah,
age.
I think it's a little bit of both, right? So, maybe, and I mean, I think it's kind of slowing down a little bit, through the generations, but, we do have some of the older generations. I'm going to call out the baby boomers a little bit here, but, I think that, is, it was you're getting married in your 20s, having kids in your mid 20s, and the environment was just to set up a little bit more, for that to be the thing, for that to be what happens. And I think, then their children kind of started questioning the path, like, is that really, is that really the way it has to be? And then let's also
Mm,
acknowledge the exposure that their kids may have gotten that they didn't, right, to the world.
mm,
I think there's a lot of factors we have to take into consideration. How large was the town that you grew up in? What part of the country did you grow up in? What kind of travel did you get to do when you were a kid? I think all of that is what kind of forms our mindset, and do we follow the rules or do we make
mm.
our own? And so it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I like that about the rules, right? You make your own, or yeah. And listen, even for guys like me, yeah, I had chances to get married, and it didn't work out. But I don't look back with any regret, to be honest
Mhm.
with you. Uh, um, only me, I can count maybe one regret, but that was a woman that I should have saw the red flags and I ignored it. And I
Mhm.
think as people, sometimes we ignore red flags thinking that we could change someone,
Mhm.
and we got to leave, to me, leave them as be. That's how I look at things. So for you, Avon, again, we going back to your practice, your friends, the social circle.
Mhm.
Again, are men putting pressure? It's the same question, but differently. Are men now putting pressure on women to get married at a certain age because the so-called they're going to hit the wall? Again, we talked about this, I think, earlier before the show. I know women in their 40s and 50s they still look great, even late 50s, early 60s. So I think
Yeah.
that's a little out there in terms of women has to get married at 30 or 40 because they're going to hit the wall. Women are taking care of themselves better than ever. What do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think?
Well, I mean, I think that what is the wall? What wall are we talking about? And that could be different for various reasons. Is
They
it
always say to having a family or
right?
kids.
Exactly. So okay, if we're gonna call the wall that, then yeah, okay, maybe we've got some biology that we need to consider. I mean,
Yeah.
but that isn't the only way to have a family. So, it depends on what they are prioritizing. Do men pressure women into getting married? I mean, from my experience, I feel like it's kind of the other way around.
Okay. All right.
I
You might
think
be right. You might be right.
I think that a lot of there are a lot of women that are eager to get married and have children, and there is a timeline that they have in mind, and biology plays a huge role in that.
Mhm.
Now we all know the stereotypical story of the man that divorced his wife and married or got together with one that's 20 years younger or whatever. Yeah, that happens too. But why was that? Why did that happen? Those are all questions that we have to ask ourselves and really think about, like, okay, what is it that we really want? What do we need out of life?
Mhm. Do you think that it's better now because of this generation and the schooling that you ladies are getting and the financial literacy, right? It's all comes down to being financial literate, right? Did I say right? Literate.
Yeah.
Um, that women can put off relationships till a little later, right? Because what matters is not relying on a man anymore. I remember I was dating this woman, and her mother told me, the girl told me that her father passed away, and the mother was left pretty much not knowing what to do because he carried the whole burden. Are women cognizant of that? That wait a minute, I don't want to rely on someone. I could do it on my own, and if a partner comes into play, wow, that's icing on the cake.
Yeah,
Did that
yeah.
make sense? Did that make
Yeah,
sense at all? Okay.
and I think that that is a really good point. I think it isn't necessarily that it's like, I don't need a man. I can take care of myself. I think a lot of it is that we're just looking for true partnership, right? We're
Mm,
not looking for this, he does this, she does that, type of relationship. Now, do we fall into some of those natural norms? Of course we do. It's
yeah.
biological. But I think for the most part, we these days are looking for partnerships, and and that what that comes with each of us being financially independent and mentally healthy and
Right.
aligned with our values and things like that.
So how in I know it's a prediction and all that I'm asking for, but what do you see the dating field going in the next 3 to 5 years? Are we gonna, I saw this study that women by the time they're what was it, by 2030, 45% of women are supposed to be single. I don't know where they got that stat from or how they predict that, but how do you see the next couple of years in terms of dating and meeting that partner that all of us want?
Yeah. Well, I think that some of these younger generations are so focused on their mental health and, just learning a little bit more about who they are and redefining, what growing up looks like.
Mhm.
And I think that it's awesome. As a mental health professional, that's what I think everybody should focus on that and really be true to yourself and find who you are before ever bringing anyone else into your life. But yeah, I think today, what is it? I think, what is the stat? I think that it's like 85% of women are getting married at 30 now or something like that. Don't
Oh
quote
wow,
me on
okay.
that, but I
Yeah,
mean,
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
it's a high number that, first marriages are in the 30s at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
you know what? I don't mean, sorry, Ava, I didn't mean to cut you. I think you're right. I did see a stat that women and men, I think men are 31 and women are 29, 30, something like that. It's like a real close age gap or something like that.
yeah.
That makes it, if I'm right, you know?
Yeah. And I think that what is happening is that science and biology, we're able to, well, it's developed so much that it's giving us more opportunity to do those things about like finding ourselves and letting our prefrontal cortex grow and develop completely before we do enter into more of those serious relationships. So I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to move a little bit, but it is going to be just, a slow process. I don't think overnight it's going to be, now we're not getting married until we're 40.
Yeah.
I think it will probably stay pretty stable. But it's also, we also have to think about too, like, okay, well, how many of these people are looking to, have children and things. So there are things that are going to affect that decision,
Yeah.
and that isn't just I'm not ready.
Yeah. Are we, again, another prediction I'm asking about you. Do you see more and more people maybe just moving in together and forsaking marriage because of the marriage laws? I'm seeing and reading that guys don't want to get married anymore because the laws are against them. Uh, are we seeing more people just moving in together and just living together with that, or just still stay separate, but see each other, 3, 4, 5 times a week? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that option. I do see a lot of people that, don't want to, jump into the legal part of it. It's a
Yeah.
institution, and they don't believe in it. That why does it have to be that way? And I think no judgment there. Like that's what works best for them. Power to them. That's great. And then being married and having a family is important for others. So you see both sides, but
Mhm.
I do think that the longer that one waits, the more likely it is that they're just going to have a long-term partnership, and that's okay.
Right. No, I definitely agree there. First of all, Avon, I want to thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I could
Yeah.
probably talk to you for another hour. And before I let you go, anything else you want to promote? Your upcoming, TEDx talk, or seeing you on Oprah one of these days. A couple of books you got coming up.
Oh my gosh, I wish. One of these days though, and when that happens, I'll give you a call.
Sounds good.
No, I think really what I would love to share is just, I really enjoy my home at Key Counseling here in Atlanta.
Hmm.
And, it's located centrally in town, and we have some incredible clinicians that work with, children, adults. I specifically work with couples and then adult individuals.
Mhm.
And I will be announcing soon, hopefully, a group. I really enjoy working with women that are in their, late 30s, 40s, kind of going through transitional stages of their life, kind of like what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So it's important for me to use this opportunity to kind of share that. And so definitely look me up if you have any questions about it. I would love to talk to you.
Yeah, give us a place where people can reach you, a Facebook, Instagram, your website.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you
Yep,
want.
yep.
Yeah.
So our website is keycounselingatl.com.
Okay, I'll put that on the show notes. And before I let you go, one last word about relationships.
One last word about
Yeah,
relationships.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I know. Oh gosh. I am going to use the word fulfillment.
Mm, okay,
I think
fulfillment.
that in when we find ourselves and we maintain our independent mental health, and I mean each partner, I believe that relationships can be extremely fulfilling.
All right, no, I love that. Well, again, Aven, thank you so much again for being on People on Dating and taking time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No.